Hey guys, it's Wi-Fi Rekka here, and I have two duels for you here. The first one I lose, the second one I win. It's against a wind-up player, and they honestly have absolutely nothing to do with each other. So, there you go. I mean, they're against the same player, but it has nothing to do with the video. It's just kind of some backdrop. I chose it because it's a nice, lengthy, beefy video. So if you guys are just here to watch the gameplay, go ahead and just watch the gameplay and mute me, or if you guys want to learn a little bit about Yu-Gi-Oh, go ahead and listen. So, I have a couple of quick but relevant and important details as to what you should do when you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh, like questions you should ask yourself. And Yu-Gi-Oh is a game we know a lot about, so what can we use that knowledge for? What kind of advantages can we gain by knowing and understanding how the mechanics work? So this is just going to be a quick overview about some of the stuff. But the first thing I want to talk about is that Yu-Gi-Oh is a game with a memory, but you can only use that memory to some extent. So if you guys don't understand what I mean by a game with a memory, I'm assuming most of you know what the game Blackjack is. Blackjack is a game where it's poker, essentially, but it's not quite poker. It's a gambling game, and you try to make a best of 21. And you can. There are plenty of basic strategies to this. And if you guys have ever read the book, oh shoot, what's it called? I can't remember what the name of the book is, but I read it, and I can't remember what it's called now. Off of it, the movie 21 span off of the book, but spun off. Excuse me. But anyways, so it's a game with a memory. What you've already seen contributes to what happens in the future. So let me explain that concept a little bit more. So say in Blackjack, you say you've already seen a lot of low cards, and this is where a lot of gambling theory comes in and what counting cards is. Let's say you've already seen a lot of low cards, then the chances of you hitting high cards are better. So you know when and where you you know a little bit about what you're doing as far as when you should bet. Like, say you have a 16, but the chance of you hitting a high card is high, you're probably not going to want to hit over and hope for a low card. Or say you have a 16 and the count's really low, and you've seen a lot of high cards in the game, you're probably going to want to hit to get closer to 21, right? So that's what I mean by a game with a memory. You can use what happened in the past in order to influence your decisions in the future. The same can go for Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, it's a complicated concept, and if you guys here are just watching the gameplay, he tries to MST during his draw phase, which I don't know if you guys know, but there are only a few cards that can be activated during the draw phase, and MST is not one of them. It's mainly counter traps, and then drop-off, or anything that says specifically it can be activated in the draw phase can be, but he has to pay his maintenance cost with Acid Golem, and he fast MSTs me, and I chain book, and he's just gonna go off on a tangent here, but that's fine, that's fine. I mean, it's what first turn tour guide does. Not to mention he's in a standby phase anyways. I don't know what matters. Yes, the watcher's chat. Anyway, sorry about that. Blackjack is a game with a memory, and you can use the cards that you've seen to influence your decisions in the future. So the same goes for Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, one of the more basic concepts is on a very small scale, you can use this. This is the same as saying, he already used heavy, so I don't need to be afraid of it anymore. Now, that can go the same for a lot of other things. Now, you have to keep in mind that this is just probability. And I'll remind you of that throughout the whole entire thing. But essentially what you can do is say he's already used 2 MST, the chances of him having another MST are not very probable. And or say he's already had, say he's already used 2 sets of normals for his rabbit. Chances are you probably don't have to fear a Dolka or Lagia coming in within the next couple turns unless you Pot of Avarice this you. And as long as you're prepared for at least one of them, the chances of him having multiple are extremely low. And I'm talking about Dino Rabbit there, guys, if it went over your head. I mean, I thought most people would know about that, but now that I think about it, it might not be true necessarily. But anyways, you guys kind of understand the basic concept that if they've already used some cards, you might not be able... It might be better for you to use other cards or adjust your play based on what they probably have rather than what they probably don't have, but which is scarier. Now, it's not an all-powerful art. You can't say he's already used 2 MST, so he probably does. So he doesn't have a 3rd MST. You can say he's already used 2 MST, so it's okay if I take a small risk and set an extra back row, or only set 1 back row for fear of heavy, or things like that. Those are the good things we want to hear, and the bad things we want to hear are relying on him not having that MST. And we're all guilty of that, players who have done this. Like, for example, I was playing a game the other day, and this guy had double Lance Engrave, and he had 1 card back row in his Gueva, and I attack with my monster because I'm like, there's no way he has another Lance. And he had the 3rd Lance, and this is all like 2nd turn, and it was extremely ridiculous, but it is what it is. I lost the duel, but it still sucks because I had so many upper level thinking skills and they just didn't help me because Yu-Gi-Oh's become a game of probability. But I'll get into that with another video. I have a couple of other videos coming up for you guys. I think I'm going to make one about Konami and things of that nature because there are a lot of misunderstandings as far as that goes. Methinks. Anyways, just so you guys know, I misplay here. I summon Hanzo. Because I know he's playing windups, I should really summon the Thunder King. It is a much better play because he has that rabbit. I mean, yes, I have the bottomless, but chances are he can just play around it. It's not really going to matter too much. Anyways. It's a stressful day for me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really out of it. Never really butchered a video this bad. Okay. Other things we're supposed to... we need to be thinking about when we're playing. You should always think not about what happened. This is completely contrary and opposite to what I just told you guys. You should hardly ever think about he's had all these, so the chance of him having this, which is kind of unrelated but would be even better, is unlikely. You should look at a game at its current perspective. It doesn't matter if you had advantage at one point, and it doesn't matter if they had advantage at one point, if that has changed. So say you're at a really good position at the beginning of a duel, and you have Xian and Barkyan and Beast or whatever, and you know that's like unstoppable.combo, and you have a Landois instead of one of those, or you know whatever. It doesn't matter if you had that combo and you had like a plus infinity over them if they had a lava golem and they dropped gores on you, because that would suck, right? I mean, it really doesn't matter if you are completely winning and destroying and whatnot if they have it over you. I mean, it doesn't pay to think he was winning all games, so he must be winning now. It pays to look at it from, just wipe your mind of what happened in the past and look at it now and what can you do now. That's the most important part, is what can you do now. There's no reason why you should be looking and regretting and saying, oh, I shouldn't have done that, until later. Later you can look at those things to say, this is what I need to change and this is what I need to fix, and I've talked about that in a few of my other videos, but what you need to say is, are things like, in the duel, what you need to say are things like, what can I do now to fix it? Or what can I do now to win? Not necessarily that turn, but what can I do now to do important things like establish advantage, or what else can you do in a duel of Yu-Gi-Oh? or pressure him with attacks, or hit through his back row. That's especially a key point when you're playing anti-meta, is to waste your opponent's resources, essentially. If they have all these awesome traps, you play cards like Breaker to counter, not necessarily counter those traps, but to force them. That's why cards like Cyber Dragon were so good back in the day, is because it would force through that bottomless, and then you could summon your GBs, or you could summon your gadgets, or whatever you happen to be playing back then. Or JD, because cards like Solemn Warning didn't exist back then. We had Oppression and Judgment, and them good old days is all I have to say about that. Sorry, I got distracted again. I do that a lot. Where was I? It's a wonderful day when I make a 19-minute video and half of it is just about nothing. Don't you think? Oh gosh. Anyways, this is where the guy beats me. What other questions are you supposed to be asking yourself? That's right. You should be asking yourself constantly, who has advantage? This rule doesn't apply so much to Burn, and it doesn't apply so much to Empty Jar and win condition decks like that, or Exodia. Doesn't matter how much advantage you have as Exodia, if they can still kill you. But in general, in decks like Wind Up, it's what makes decks like Wind Ups and Zector so good, is that they have this ability to demolish and destroy your card advantage and the resources you have at your disposal. And it's for that reason that decks like that are so good. As you can see here, I almost faked out and said I wasn't going to side, and then almost sided. But, you know, I'm a good person, I suppose. Stuff like that. Honorable. Oh gosh. Gatorade can choke you. Not really sure what to talk about here, but since I covered pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about, but just I don't know when or what's enough at this point. I suppose I can just talk about the gameplay for a little while. Here, Thunder King is the best card you'll ever play against Wind-Ups besides Skill Drain, because it'll hit their factory, it'll hit their Sangan, it'll stop their Zenmain's plays, their well, any of their plays really. And this guy has Nyanko or Kitten, and I'm just gonna let him get away with that because there's really no point in teaching. He's gonna get in here for 800 and then what? Set back row. It's just like, okay. I have the double TT for anything next turn. I'm not particularly afraid of him searching. The only thing that would really kill me here is freaking Wind Up Rabbit. And rabbits are just so broken in this game, guys, in case you didn't know. And here I just keep drawing cards. I really don't want to get heavied, so I don't do anything that would end up in me getting heavied, because heavy is bad. Okay. I know if I set multiple torrential, he'll hit me. There's really no reason to set multiple torrential, and that's another thing. I see a lot of people set multiple torrential, set multiple bottomless, and the chances of them actually having anything against you are slim to none. And here I'll end up setting a ninjutsu art, but that's okay. At least I believe I do. Oh yeah, here we go. So I kind of read into the Gores because he didn't set any back row. I remember now. So I set the ninjutsu art because I know if he heavies next turn, I can activate ninjutsu art on his Gores and either at least make it an even, or if he has the MST, if he has the MST, it's an even. But here, if he has a storm, it's a -1 for him. I believe that's how it works. Even if you don't count ninjutsu art, I believe it's a -1. Yep. I'm smart. And you can see I drew Reborn last turn, which is it's really good, but I don't think it ever really comes into play. And here he doesn't read what White Dragon Ninja does, and he doesn't have a working knowledge of the game, and it's going to lose him the duel. If there's one thing I recommend you guys do for yourselves, it's that you have a working knowledge of every meta card in the game. If you understand a deck's weaknesses, you can play to them a lot easier. And that's how I beat all my Ninja Mirror matches, is because I know what sucks about ninjas, and it's basically if you can't keep homes on the field. Yeah, you'll lose if you can't keep White Dragon Ninjas on the field. But after the YCS, I'll tell you guys all about the ninjas. I'll tell you all about how I did, and if you guys don't see it, you know, I'm sure. I don't actually plan on winning. I feel like I'm going to scrub pretty hard, but that's okay. It's totally fine. I'll get over it. And here I believe I fear Zen mains. I don't. Yeah, see here he goes tour guide, and I know he goes for another tour guide. Because I would never let him get away with anything besides another tour guide. So I believe I TT because there's really no way for me to handle his Zen mains right now. He'll kill something, and that something will be important. That will almost for sure be important. I can't really ninjutsu art his Zen mains, you know. It's another thing you can't do, which should have gone on my ninjutsu art video. If you guys haven't seen that, take a look. But you can't ninjutsu art with an Xyz monster. I can't tell you how many people tried to cheat me during the Ninja Mirror match. I always go Blade Armor, and I understand all the weaknesses of the deck, and I understand all the strengths of the deck, and people just don't get it. They just don't understand, I suppose. But yeah, it is what it is. If you guys are Ninja Mirror matching, here's a pro tip. Chain your ninjutsu art to their ninjutsu art, and never do yours first, because you'll lose. Oh gosh, this is probably a really horrible video. I'm sorry, you guys. I ran out of things to talk about pretty quickly. I should have sped up the video, but I really didn't. So here, I get lucky, and he doesn't go for the Zen mains. Probably because he probably doesn't really want to go. I don't know whether a good player would have gone Zen mains or not, but he wants to get some looping action off on me. He's hoping that isn't a TT, I suppose, but it is, and it's going to wreck him. Or maybe he's just trying to get that White Dragon off the field as best as he can. Sorry, guys. And here he goes Rat, and then I make the. I believe yeah, he has a target, doesn't he? Yeah, he is. There's really no reason for me to TT here, other than he can Yanko bounce my White Dragon to hand, so I just go ahead with the TT, just because I really don't like having White Dragon in hand. It's a Light Engrave, but, I mean, also, to be fair, it is a, technically a -1, but he generated so much from that it ended up being a +1. Which is just really sad that windups can do that. They can just summon Tour Guide and generate a +2. And Inzektor is the same, except they can just summon... they can summon Dragonfly and generate a -2 on your end, and then they can make a Zen mains, which is unkillable +2 wall on your end, and add another one to hand, which, you know... Seems fair to me, but they lose to Skill Drain and Shadow Imprisoning Mirror and Macrocosmos, and if you defisher the Hornet before it goes to grave, and all those sorts of things they will lose to. So that is what it is as well. This video is wrapping up. I just wanted to let you guys know that I am going to be in Long Beach, if you haven't already heard, so if you guys want to see me, I'm going to make a shirt before I head out. And it'll have my YouTube on it, and it might even have an overlay of Rekka on it, because she is cool as shit. And here I just won, so let me know if you guys want to see anything in particular. Comment, like, subscribe, leave extra comments, leave more comments, leave questions, leave video suggestions, and peace.